Thanks for joining us once again. This is Greg, typically from Teslafaninsight, but today I have my uh, Jets fanatical hat on. So I am a New York Jets fan. I grew up in New York and used to live right across the street from the practice facility in a place called Hofstra, New York. So since I was about five, I've been a Jets fan and am really enjoying the fact that we have a great quarterback and the potential to make some noise. So I apologize for those of you who are not here for Tesla. Please indulge me and we will get back to Tesla tomorrow. So the focus of my conversation today is, should the coach of the Jets be fired, or some kind of consultant should be hired to sort of sit over him in that situation? So as you know, this past week, the Jets just lost to the Denver Broncos, and they lost by 1 point, and the kicker missed a field goal at the end that would have won it, but they probably should have won it earlier in the game than that. In particular, the problem they had is 15 penalties. Half of those penalties were Aaron Rodgers trying to use a hard count and resulting in people jumping off on his side of the ball, mostly the offensive line. So I was fascinated by the dialogue that's going on here, because a lot of people are focused on the fact that the coach came out and actually mentioned that all the uh, false starts were a big part of the reason why they lost the game. And if you look at the initial statistics, you'd have to say that's actually true. What I didn't understand, or by the comment, was that there's this phenomenon of um, if you watch Aaron Rodgers for like a couple of years in previous video, you'll notice that when he was playing with Green Bay, every 2 games, maybe 3 games, he would use the hard count as a way to get a free touchdown. Because as soon as he would get you on the hard count, he would then have all the receivers stop running routes and just run to the end zone to catch the touchdown, which is what actually happened against the 49ers in game one. So the issue is that the hard count is a fascinating tool when it comes to professional football. The main reason is that a half-second difference between when you have to get rid of the ball can be the difference between throwing a touchdown or getting sacked. So Aaron's ability to use the hard count to control the intensity of the rush from the linemen literally changes the field. I used to think that there was a phenomenon where if you're a great uh, thrower, you get to see the field a certain way because the DBs have to respect your ability to throw the ball to every spot on the field, and therefore they had to cover every spot. One person that comes to mind is Colin Kaepernick, and how he throws a very fast ball that's usually straight, and he had a hard time controlling uh, short, medium, and long trajectories over defensive players and into the arms of his own teammates. So today I was really sort of noodling on this conversation about Robert Salah, and I'm sort of stunned that yes, he's the defensive coach. Yes, he lets the offensive coaches handle that side of the ball, but I just feel as though he doesn't seem to have enough understanding of the offensive side of the ball to be a great manager. The biggest example that I've noticed about this is in when you play the offensive line, or any line for that, there's something called a cut block. What is a cut block? That's when the linemen will actually face up against the defensive person coming at them, and instead of pushing against them and trying to keep them away from their quarterback, you actually fall on the ground and roll over, hoping that that person will be obstructed by your rolling around on the ground, and therefore slow down and maybe not get to the quarterback very quickly. So I distinctly remember last year that when Aaron Rodgers arrived, uh, before he got hurt, both offensive tackles tried cut blocks. The first offensive tackle did a cut block, and it resulted in the defender simply jumping over him and having a free run at the quarterback. But because he was on the side of the quarterback where he could see him, Aaron was able to get the ball away successfully. So after I saw this last year, I was thinking to myself, this really makes no sense at all. You've got a really, really expensive quarterback. Even if the numbers are $50 million, the man is worth $100 million because of the experience he's carrying into games. So if the lineman has to initially block him, and if the guy is going to get to his quarterback, he has to pull him down and take the penalty instead of allowing the quarterback to be put out of the game by getting hit. So I was fascinated because, the first cut block person almost got Aaron killed, and the second guy on the other side who did the cut block, by the time Aaron realized that that guy had jumped over the offensive guy and was running at him and would end up ripping his legs from underneath him and causing ankle damage that would take a year to recover from, I was just sitting there for the past year wondering, excuse me, coach, if you're the head coach and you know what a cut block is because you've seen them so often, why didn't you call timeout and just say to your tackles and guards and even the center, hey, if you do a cut block, you're fired? And so that did not happen. They rolled with the players they had and lost Aaron Rodgers for the entire year. Now, when we get to this year, there's something that's going on that I still don't understand why. So when I went to college at Stanford, and we had a point guard named Brevin Knight. And Brevin Knight was All-American. He was a top 10 pick in the NBA when he went from Stanford. And he ran into a problem at Stanford because there are passes that he would want to throw and the guy would be open around the basket, and they would often have the ball roll right by them and not catch the pass because their attention wasn't focused on him and the potential that he could throw a bullet pass at them. And so his mom mentioned to me, and I think it came from the coach, that you should just start hitting them in the head with the ball. And after they get that a few times, they'll start to realize what the deal is. So if we bring this back to the Jets, what you'll notice is that there's a weird thing going on right now, which is when a quarterback is setting up to throw the ball, what happens is there's something called a hot read. So usually what happens is if there's an extra defender or multiple extra defenders that come, wherever they came from, there's going to be a spot where the receiver or let's say a tight end should be, because that way, if the linemen are unable to block the folks that are coming to get the quarterback, he can simply throw the ball out there and gain a lot of yardage from that error. So there's this dialogue that's going on right now between the Jet receivers and Aaron Rodgers, which is there's also something called a back shoulder fade. So Aaron is doing the Brevin Knight thing where he's hitting his receivers in the head with the ball as they continue running down the field and saying, they're looking at him saying, the route I'm supposed to run is this. And he's saying to them, look, in the NFL, if they take away your hot read, where's the ball going if we have too many rushers so that I'm in jeopardy? And so the measurement of that is if you take off as the receiver and the DB is right next to you, that's when you look for the back shoulder fade because you haven't outrun him and he isn't going to let you outrun him. So it's a perfect time for the back shoulder fade. So there's this thing that I'm seeing, which is, you might want to call it the Aaron Rodgers recipe for success. Well, one of them is the hard count. So there needs to be like extensive effort put into making sure that you understand Aaron's hard count and how to manage it as a lineman or any offensive player so you don't get pulled by it offside, which is what he's trying to do with the opposing team. And so I'm bringing all this up because I think we have a huge opportunity here. And Salah is new as a coach and he's working it out, or as a head coach. But the final thing that you'll notice is that if you study the best coaches in the league, I think Tomlin is one example. You could even say Belichick. The tendency is if there's a problem, we take care of stuff in-house and we don't hand it out of house and take care of it. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you're having problems with your guys knowing what the count is and being pulled off sides, etc., you actually don't want to discuss that because you're giving a competitive advantage to the other team. Like, will he be doing hard counts now because his guys have no clue how to manage it? And therefore, this gives us an opportunity to put our rush on faster because those offensive players have no clue. So Salah, in my mind, has one of the best quarterbacks there's ever been, and it gives the Jets a chance to win in ways they may not have ever had. And so the question is, will he get well enough versed in offense to manage one of the best offenses in the world, given that we have this great quarterback? Or is he going to stay in this zone where I'm a great defensive guy, I let the offensive people deal with the offense, and I don't tweak or have a good enough command of what the offense should be doing in order to contribute to the decision making on that side of the ball? So I feel like he might be the wrong coach, because unless he's going to hire, if you will, a Mike Schumer or any of the great offensive coaches that are now semi-retired, and I'll allow them to help him sort of master, deeper and deeper levels of what's supposed to go on the offensive side of the ball, I really think this is a blown opportunity. The final thing that I think says that I don't like him, I'm hoping he gets fired or that he's replaced, by someone over him in that space, is that Aaron Rodgers has $400 million in the bank. What that means is that he has so much money in interest coming in every month that he actually doesn't have to work anymore. He just enjoys it. So he's the type of quarterback where you don't want to tick him off with stupid statements, because that frustration will result in him saying, I was going to stick around for 2 or 3 years, but you guys have so little clue that I need to get out of here before I get killed by the fact that the way the teammates are handling their responsibility don't seem to be growing. So I wanted to run this by you briefly because I'll probably have a once a week or so Jets take. And I've heard some good comments by others about this. But I'm kind of fascinated by pro football, love the Jets, hoping they win a lot of games this year, maybe the ultimate game. But I wanted to put my 2 cents out, and I appreciate you taking time out to listen and would love to get your feedback on that situation. Have a great day. Bye for now. Tschüss. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight usually, but today, rabid Jets fan.